that you have all of your patterns. Front, front facing, back, back facing, sleeve, tie. Sew up the darts on the front panel. Sew up the darts on the back panel. On the sleeve, trace out the sewing line following the paper pattern. Fold the sleeve into half, matching up the sewing lines, and sew them together. Overlock the curved edge. Repeat this step for the other sleeve. Align the front of the sleeve to the front panel and sew them together with a 1 cm seam allowance. On the back of the sleeve and the back panel, sew them together with a 1 cm seam allowance. Repeat for the other side, the front panel and the front side of the sleeve with a 1 cm seam allowance. The back side of the sleeve and the back panel with a 1 cm seam allowance. Fold the tie panel into half and sew along one short edge and one long edge with a 1 cm seam allowance. Turn it inside out. Iron well. Repeat for the other tie panel. On the front panel, on the wearer's right, align the raw edge of the tie to this point. And baste it down with a 0.5 cm to secure. At the waist notch, align the other tie with the raw side along the edge of the fabric and baste down with a 0.5 cm to secure. Sew both back panels together along the center back with a 1.5 cm seam allowance, stopping at the slit opening notch. Along the slit opening, measure and mark 1 cm from the folded edge. Sew along the 1 cm line. Sew the front and back panels together along the side seams with a 1 cm seam allowance. At the sleeve hem, fold up by 1.5 cm and iron well. Then top stitch 1 cm from the folded edge. Repeat for the other side. Sew the front and back facings together along the shoulder with a 1 cm seam allowance. Match up the facings to the front and back panels, making sure to align up the shoulder seams. Then sew them together with a 1 cm seam allowance. Grab a pair of scissors and snip into the seam allowances to reduce the tension and the bulk. Turn it inside out. To prepare for the understitch, push all the seam allowances towards the facing and iron well. Then understitch on the facing, making sure to catch onto the seam allowances below. It can be done in 3 sections: 1, 2, 3. At the dress hem, fold in the facing. Then sew 5 centimeters from the bottom. Repeat for the other side. Turn it inside out. Measure and mark 5 centimeters. Then fold it in and iron well. Top stitch 4 centimeters from the folded edge. Hand sew hook and eye, securing the front to the side seams at the waist. You may also feel free to add some snap buttons to prevent the front from opening up. And there you have it. Your dress is completed.